By the time we finished dinner, it was already past 7:30 p.m. My daughter and her husband, John, who had said they'd be back by 6 p.m., left their son, Alex, and haven't contacted us since. Worn out from playing, and with a full belly, Alex was dozing off. He looked sleepy, but he was a bit sandy from playing Explorers, and he definitely needed a bath. Alex is just 5 years old. I filled the bathtub and prepared his favorite bath bomb with a toy inside, thinking he'd enjoy it. Bath time. I called out to Alex and Tom. Then, out of nowhere, Alex woke up fully and started screaming, "I don't want to take a bath, I didn't do anything," and ran around the house trying to escape. We couldn't understand why he was saying that, and were quite puzzled. After all that playing, "I didn't do anything" seemed like a strange thing to say. Alex had a tense look on his face, and we were left wondering. It was clear he was having trouble washing himself. When I washed him from head to toe, I could see his surprised face in the mirror. I had no idea why he was acting that way. It was confusing not knowing what he was thinking. Eventually, Alex cautiously stepped into the bathtub and gradually relaxed. Then he said something surprising.
"The bath is warm, huh?"
"Oh,
I don't like the bath at home, but Grandma's bath is fun and warm and nice.
As he spoke, he began to blame himself, with tears in his eyes. "I am Maggie. I've lived in this small town, not unlike a rural area in Vermont, far from the hustle and bustle of New York City, where trains come every 2 minutes. Here, we have a bus that comes about once an hour, or you need to drive yourself. Being from the countryside, my parents and relatives always encouraged me to live here my whole life. I don't mind living in this town. Here, it's expected for women to be homemakers. So, after graduating high school, I married Tom, whom I met through a matchmaking process, and have been a stay-at-home wife. Tom has always been kind, not the domineering husband type. Shortly after we got married, we were blessed with our daughter, Emily. She was like a treasure to us. We tried our best to shield her from local gossip and the constraints of our surroundings. Emily seemed to enjoy living here when she was younger. However, the local customs and attitudes probably didn't sit well with someone of her generation. Relatives living here long-term often had harsh words. Emily gradually started spending less time at home, creating distance between us.
"I'll be studying at school today. I don't need dinner."
Probably, her desire to leave this place motivated her. From the time she entered high school, she began to focus more on her studies, even before we could say anything. Unlike in the city, there aren't many tutoring centers or private tutors here. She spent her days attending school lessons and studying after school. She even quit the choir club. She loved to make more time for studying. Her efforts paid off, and she got into her first choice university in the city. She started living on her own in the city. Luckily, she had helped with household chores at home, so she didn't have any problems. She managed her university life by working part-time jobs and taking out student loans, insisting on not relying on us. We did send her money, but she insisted on not using our help. She would accept things we sent, but we never knew what happened to them. It seemed she didn't use the money we transferred. And so, Emily graduated from the College of Education without any setbacks and became a middle school teacher. She apparently got married to a colleague she met at work, John Mercer, in her second year as a professional. The reason this sounds like it's about someone else is because we haven't been in touch much since she went off to college. For Emily, this small town and her childhood home are places she'd rather not return to.
I'm not staying in this town. I live in New York. It's more convenient, and you can do anything there.
Over the past decade, the number of times we've seen Emily face to face could be counted on one hand. Most of those times were when we visited her in New York. Occasionally, due to Tom's work, we'd go to places like New York or somewhere else in the greater New York area. We'd contact her, and the three of us would go out to eat. John never showed up to these meals. The only time we saw both of them together was when they unexpectedly visited our house to announce their marriage.
We decided to get married, so we thought we should at least come to say hi.
However, John didn't seem much interested in our hometown. Since you've come all this way, why not stay for some tea?
No, thank you.
Emily also seemed like she was just there to fulfill a duty, and left soon after.
I have work tomorrow, so I need to head back. You've seen John. Satisfied now?
We've never met John's parents, and any conversation about his family ends up vague or unanswered. We don't even know where he's from or about his family background. Take care of yourselves. Text me sometime. We felt lonely, but couldn't convey this to Emily. We anticipated being ignored if we shared our feelings. And we didn't want to experience the sadness and emptiness of being neglected. Besides, being a teacher is demanding, I've heard. They both advise school clubs and often work weekends. Emily's place in the city is too far from our home. It's hard for her to visit us casually, which likely makes it easier to drift apart. Emily has changed in ways we don't know. Still, somewhere deep down, we hope to start over as a family again. I have mixed feelings about Emily. 3 years into her marriage, they had a son. He was named Alex. He's our first grandchild. When we were informed about the birth, we rushed to the hospital. I was determined to just see his face and then head back home. Right after giving birth, she must have been mentally and physically exhausted. Plus, wanting to enjoy some quiet family time is understandable. It was winter, and with sickness going around, we didn't want to risk bringing anything into the hospital. Congratulations on the birth. Remember, we're here if you need us.
Drop by our house when you can.
We wanted to stay longer but didn't overstay our welcome. However, even after Alex turned 1, Emily and her family rarely visited us. Our desire to see Emily and Alex only grew stronger after his birth. We kept calling, spacing out the calls. Not wanting to be too pushy, but longing to see them. If it's too hard for you to come here, we can come to you. If it's better not at home, how about going somewhere else, like the zoo or a park?
I'm busy with club activities and grading tests.
Then, how about we take care of Alex? We really wish we could give you a break.
It's the thought that counts. I'm too busy to take him out. If you can take him to the zoo or a park, that would be great.
Thank you. After that, we started looking after Alex about every 6 months. Emily would hand him over to us at the nearest train station to their home in the morning.
I have to accompany the club to a competition, so I'll pick him up around the usual time.
We'd then take Alex to places he wanted to go, like the aquarium or amusement parks. Some days were spent just watching the trains go by. Alex would run around a lot in parks, but in public places like aquariums or shopping malls, he behaved quietly. Emily and John are teachers, although they deal with middle school students. They must be teaching Alex good manners. We praised Alex a lot and played with him plenty. At first, he was surprised when we patted his head, but gradually he started showing a happy expression. By around 6 p.m., it seemed Emily would finish work and come to pick up Alex. After several visits, Alex began to cry, not wanting to go home. Probably beginning to understand that our time together would end as it got closer to 6 p.m.
I want to play more with Grandma and Grandpa.
We'll come to visit again soon.
You have kindergarten tomorrow, so we need to head back.
It was hard for us to let him go, watching his back as he left. As he grows, he seems to want to play more. We'd like to increase the frequency of our visits, but we have to consider Emily's schedule. Since they don't stay overnight, our time together is always short. We've suggested staying over during longer holidays. However, it hasn't happened yet, as Emily prefers they all sleep together at night. I hear boys only want to sleep with their parents when they're little. There are things I don't understand, having only raised a daughter. Emily often says she wants to cherish every moment. We can't disregard a mother's feelings. So we just let them know they're welcome anytime, and wait for Emily to reach out. When Alex was about 5 years old, we received a rare call from Emily.
Work has settled down this year. Can we visit you during the Christmas holidays?
We don't mind at all. You're always welcome. It's been about 8 years since Emily last visited home, aside from when she announced her marriage. Maybe Alex has grown enough to be less of a handful compared to his infancy. After receiving the call, we were thrilled at the prospect of the family being together again. I've always made appetizers and pies, but this year, with more people coming, I'm putting in even more effort. Emily used to love chestnut tarts, so I'll prepare extra. We also made fried chicken because Alex loves it. Tom polished up the house in anticipation of our grandson's first overnight stay. Marking the calendar, counting down the days, I couldn't help but smile at his eagerness. Tom isn't much of a talker, but his excitement was clear through his expressions and actions. That much shows how much I'm looking forward to Emily and her family coming home. Finally, the day arrived. They reached our nearest station, so we went to pick them up. This area is inconvenient without a car, but it's too far to drive directly from the city. They are making the effort to stay over, so we want to be as hospitable as possible. Welcome back. Come on, get in.
Thank you for picking us up.
Emily and her family were greeted with our beaming smiles as we got them into the car. We thought they'd want to relax at home for the first few days, but our assumptions were quickly proven wrong.
It's been a while since I've been here, but nothing seems to have changed.
With the aging population and little chance for development, can we go to our house directly?
We have plans with friends. Just take Alex back with you. Can you stop here? We'll get off.
And just like that, leaving Alex in the car, Emily and John got out halfway.
We'll be back by 6 p.m. Please take care of Alex.
Be good, okay.
Alex silently watched them leave. Though he didn't say it, I could feel his loneliness.
Alex, let's play with Grandpa. It's your first time here, so how about we start with an exploration game?
We have fried chicken and pudding too. Seeing Alex's lonely expression made us feel sorry for him. We wanted to entertain him as much as possible, so Tom and I worked together to do everything we could. After playing with Tom and eating the snacks I made, Alex showed us his smile. Seeing our grandson's smiling face was a happy time for us too. Even though it was past the 6 p.m. that Emily said they'd be back, they hadn't returned. Not only that, but no matter how much we called their cell, we got no response. We started to worry they hadn't been in an accident. The last bus had already left, and this isn't the kind of place where you can easily catch a taxi. Surrounded by fields with no convenience stores nearby and few lights, it's not impossible that something could happen. We prepared to be able to act immediately in case we got a call or they needed a pickup, waiting for any contact from them. The dinner table, which was supposed to be surrounded by 5 of us, was now just Tom, Alex, and me. Of course, we left Emily's and John's portions untouched. What lifted my slightly saddened spirits was Alex, smiling broadly in front of his favorite foods.
Grandma's homemade meals are super delicious.
Alex finished all the fried chicken I prepared just for him. It was the first time I saw him eat so much. By the time we finished dinner, it was past 7:30 p.m. Alex, tired from playing and full from dinner, was dozing off. He looked sleepy, but he had gotten a bit dirty from playing Explorer, so he needed a bath. I filled the tub with hot water and prepared his favorite character bath bomb. That comes with a toy inside. I thought he'd enjoy it. Bath time. I called out to Alex and Tom. But then Alex woke up and suddenly shouted, "I don't want to take a bath. I didn't do anything," and started running around the house. We were perplexed by his words. After playing so much, what did he mean by "I didn't do anything"? "Alex, the bath's ready. Let's go in with Grandma." Even though I wanted to ask why he was reluctant, He was running around so much that we couldn't have a conversation. He crawled under the table or dashed up the stairs to the second floor. Tom and I are both around 50. Alta Hugh, we're a bit involved in farming. We really felt our ages trying to catch him. We managed to corner Alex with Tom's help. His tense expression made us question what was wrong. Certainly, being caught wouldn't be fun. It was clear he wasn't just upset about losing a game of tag. We got him to the changing room, but he wouldn't undress, so we ended up doing it for him. It seemed difficult for him to wash himself, so I washed him from head to toe. He looked surprised in the mirror as I did so. I had no idea why he was acting this way, making me feel even more confused. Alex slowly softened his expression as he soaked in the tub, then said something surprising.
The bath is warm, huh?
His words and behavior up until then made me suspect something had happened. His running away at the mention of a bath must be related. While I was wondering how to respond, Alex began to speak. Garant baths where you get cold water poured on you. I wondered why I had to take off my clothes. No, it's a place to clean and warm up your body. Why did you think cold water would be poured on you?
Mom and Dad say I'm a bad boy. They always take me to the bath for punishment.
Alex didn't blame Emily or John in his words. While nearly in tears, he blamed himself.
I don't like the bath at home, but Grandma's bath is fun and warm, and I like it.
Alex, who had looked like he might cry, was now smiling in the tub. I hugged him tightly, wanting to protect this smile that must have been hurt in ways we didn't know about, forever. After persuading Alex, who wanted to stay in the bath forever, to get out before he got too overheated, it pained me to see his hair, realizing he likely hadn't been to a salon in a while. Yet, I couldn't help but think there was truth in the busyness of their jobs. I took him to a freshly dried, fluffy bed, where he fell asleep quickly from exhaustion. I decided to make the next day fun for him too, as I watched his peaceful sleeping face. After making sure Alex had fallen asleep, I discussed what happened in the bath with Tom.
I see. So that's what happened.
Tom said, with a troubled look on his face. It seems that's why he was crying so much whenever we were about to leave. I also shared something I noticed in the bath. Look at this. I quietly pointed out the numerous bruises on Alex's body. A few bruises are common in the upbringing of a 5-year-old boy. However, the number of bruises on Alex was extraordinary, all hidden under his clothes. Bruises on his stomach and back seemed like they couldn't have been made unless someone intentionally inflicted them. Alex might run around where it's safe but behaves maturely beyond his years in public spaces. He's not the type to get into fights or throw tantrums.
Even with their own child, there are things they should and shouldn't do. This is absolutely unforgivable.
Unable to contain his frustration, Tom immediately called Emily and John. But neither of them answered. I want to protect Alex right away. Who should we consult in this situation?
A child welfare office might take too long, since it involves violence against a child. We should contact the police.
With a heavy heart, Tom made the call to the police. Regardless of Emily being our own daughter, we never raised her to harm others, especially her own child. I hoped it was all a misunderstanding. Such thoughts of escapism floated in my mind. Yet, the bruises and Alex's demeanor in the bath forced us to face reality. I was angry at myself for not noticing sooner. Despite it being 10 p.m., the police arrived at our house promptly. Although I had explained some details over the phone, we went over the situation in person. While showing photos of Alex's bruises that I had taken, Emily and John returned home.
Is this your son?
Yes, what about it?
John responded aggressively.
We received a report about multiple bruises on his body.
Boys will be boys. They play and get bruises.
It's hard to believe these bruises came from normal play, especially in these locations. Also, your son mentioned being doused with cold water on his head.
That is.
The two of them couldn't respond to the police's questions and began to speak softer. John no longer argued boldly with the police officer. After a moment of silence, Emily began to speak as if in desperation.
It's all Alex's fault. Despite being the child of teachers, he's too poorly behaved. We only disciplined him a little.
Blaming everything on Alex. They insisted it was all justifiable. I was furious at their reasoning, but knew that confronting them angrily would not solve anything. I restrained myself from raising my voice, instead intently waiting for the police officer's next move. Suddenly, Tom left and quickly returned with a bucket in each hand. In the next moment, he poured the bucket full of water over Emily and John's heads. Both the police officer and I were taken aback by his action. Tom, with an expressionless face, stared at them and said, "That's just a fraction of what you did to Alex. Never come to our house again."
John Mercer, Emily, could we discuss this further at the station?
Understood.
Emily and John agreed to go with the police officer to the police station. The commotion woke up Alex, it seems. "You don't have to be scared anymore. Let's sleep together, just the three of us tonight." To alleviate any of Alex's fears, Tom, Alex, and I got into bed together. I was overwhelmed with worry about what would happen next. But I kept telling myself there was no other choice if we wanted to protect Alex. Following the police and child welfare investigation, Emily and John were formally arrested. It turned out there were more instances of mistreatment against Alex than what he had told me. There were times they didn't feed him, and when his bruises were bad, they made him stay home alone without letting him go to kindergarten. The kindergarten teacher had felt something was off and had been keeping a watchful eye, prepared to intervene. Seeing Alex's joy at the fried chicken and large portions of food probably related to his past experiences. Their arrest was on the local newspaper in their city. And with their names published, their workplaces were quickly identified. Naturally, the news spread to our small community as well. For a while, Alex was kept out of kindergarten due to concern from other parents. Neighbors bombarded us with questions. And while some understood, others were harsh. However, everyone agreed that reporting them was the right thing to do. Arrested for child abuse, it's unlikely Emily and John could return to their professions even if they were released. Tom's act of pouring water in front of the police officer was settled with just a warning. Meanwhile, Alex came to live with us. Next year, he'll be starting elementary school, which only has one class per grade level and a small number of students. And the news of his parents' arrest has spread. Rumors can be deadly in a small town like ours. We set up a new home not too far from Emily and John's, as we couldn't leave the family farm behind. And Alex didn't want to part from his kindergarten friends. Living between two homes started a new chapter for us. At first, Alex was frightened by the shadow of his parents.
Am I a bad kid for doing this?
No way, Alex. You're a good kid.
The negative words his parents had used haunted him like a curse. We did everything we could to make him feel secure and loved, erasing those scars bit by bit. Fortunately, he was able to enroll in the nearby elementary school, and even made new friends. I feel like we are slowly easing his worries. Years have passed since then, and Alex seems to be thriving. He attends school daily unless he's sick, and sometimes plays with friends after school. On weekends and holidays, he helps with farm work or household chores, and has even started a new hobby.
I want to try soccer. Dad said no when I asked before.
That sounds great. It's good to try new things and see if you enjoy them. Gradually, Alex began to share more of his thoughts and feelings with us. Acting as his grandparents, we've done our best to fill the roles of his actual parents. Despite our age and back pains, we've participated in parent-child races at sports festivals. And we felt honored when Alex wrote about us in his People I Admire essay for school.
The person I admire the most is my grandparents. They always think about what's best for me and teach me right from wrong.
We're committed to protecting Alex's smile for as long as we can.